Okay, we'll start with this. It's official. Amanda Serrano will be returning to action at Summer's End next month on the 21st at the Pachanga Resort and Casino in Temecula, California, opposite the Ring Argentina's own Lucrecia Manzur, in pursuit of surpassing Christy Martin's knockout record of 32 knockouts. In her previous fight, Amanda Serrano matched it. Now she is looking to surpass it in what will be her third ring appearance of this year. The first was in January, opposite the ring unbeaten Reina Telez. The second was in May, opposite the ring Cheyenne Henson, who she stopped in the second round of a contest scheduled for 10. Now her third will be against Lucrecia Manzur. 27 years old to the champion, who is 37. Lucrecia is 10 years younger than Amanda, though nowhere near the fighter that Amanda is, sporting a professional record of 49 wins with 4 losses and 1 draw, 32 knockouts, having never been knocked out in 54 professional bouts. To Lucrecia, who sports a more modest 14 wins with 4 losses and no draws, 7 knockouts, having been knocked out 2 times in 18 professional bouts. Lucrecia is currently on a 5-fight winning streak. Last in action in March of this year opposite the ring, Nair Erlin, who she decisioned over 10 rounds. It just so happens to share a common opponent with Amanda Serrano in multi-weight champion Daniela Bermudez. When Amanda fought Daniela, she knocked her out. But when Lucrecia fought Daniela, she got knocked out in the third round of a contest scheduled for 10. Interesting particulars in association with this fight is that it's scheduled for 12 2-minute rounds instead of 10 3-minute rounds. We know that MVP Overtime have become the biggest advocates for 3-minute rounds in a women's boxing match, but now they seem to be softening their stance on that and moving away from it. Instead, 12 2-minute rounds. What is the virtue? Some people actually prefer the fast-paced action of a 2-minute round as opposed to a 3-minute round because there's no time to mess about. If you're gonna win the round, there's little time to waste and you have to get to it, which promotes a lot of back and forth action, a lot of combinations, a lot of back and forth. A lot of people prefer that to a 3-minute round where there's a lot more room for quiet moments and lulls in the action. I actually made the suggestion in previous videos that instead of advocating for 3-minute rounds in the women's boxing match, why not try for 12 twos? You still get additional time to work, wear down the opponent, but you still get to keep the fast-paced action of the 2-minute round. Would seem they're going to be trying that out for Amanda Serrano's next fight that will not come to us by way of the ESPN platform. Instead, they're going to do this on TikTok. That gives me the impression that this will not be Amanda Serrano's final fight of this year or her boxing career. This, at the Pachanga Resort and Casino, is not Amanda Serrano's swan song. I still think later on in the year they're gonna do that on her native island of Puerto Rico. What this is a little run out. Though I think a lot of people are left to wonder, having so recently struck that deal with ESPN, why is MVP doing a show on a social media platform? And it could be because this is just a quick run out. ESPN may have limited dates, limited availability. Remember that this is not the same kind of deal that ESPN struck with Top Rank close to 10 years ago, where they were kicking out 80 to 90 million annually for Top Rank to do shows on their platform. This is a much more modest deal that MVP has with ESPN. And it's not an exclusive deal either. I get the impression MVP can do shows on other platforms. So if it's not ESPN kicking out the money to do this card, where is the money coming from? And I'd wager that money is coming from the Pachanga Resort and Casino, a site fee from them. It's a small show. I think the bigger one, I think Amanda Serrano's swan song, her final fight in the sport, that will be on ESPN. And what else you want to consider is that MVP may be among the first major promotional outfits to start doing shows on social media platforms on a regular basis. What would be the virtue?
Just the smaller cards.
If there is any virtue to doing a show on a big social media platform like TikTok, it's that you have millions upon millions of users there you could potentially market your boxing content to.
Many of which are from the younger generation. If there's a way to bridge the gap, the divide between boxing as a sport and the younger crowd, a big social media platform like TikTok could help to bridge that gap. Now, as far as the fight itself, I don't think any of us have any illusions about what's going to happen. I think most, if not all people, expect Amanda Serrano to win. It's just a question of how. Does she decision Lucretia, or does she knock her out?
She's been knocked out 2 times already by lesser fighters and lesser punchers than Amanda, so a knockout is likely.
We'll talk more about it as the fight date approaches.
In men's featherweight news, newly minted WBA champion Brandon Figueroa is hoping that Tomoki Kameda clash could lead to the monster.
Where have I heard that before?
Brandon Figueroa believes a successful first defense of his WBA featherweight title against Tomoki Kameda could open a door to a showdown with Naoya Inoue. Figueroa, 27-2 with 1 draw and 20 knockouts, ripped the belt away from Nick Ball with a dramatic stoppage win in Liverpool back in February, and is set to defend his title against Japan's Kameda in October after PBC announced the bout following its new broadcast deal with DAZN. Although there had been reports that the fight could take place in Japan, this October, Figueroa told Boxing Scene he expects it to land in either Texas or California. Kameda, 42-5 with 23 knockouts, is a former bantamweight champion and one of Japan's most recognizable names. The 35-year-old most recently lost the majority decision to IBF champion Angelo Leo in 2025, but will have another shot against Figueroa. Honestly, I didn't see that fight with Angelo Leo. I'm the type of boxer, I hardly watch boxing, Figueroa told Boxing Scene. I love to train and fight, but I'll definitely be watching his tapes as the fight gets closer. I think the last time I saw him fight live was when he fought Ray Vargas in Carson, California, which was years ago, like years ago. I know he's a veteran. He's been in the ring with world champions, former world champions. He has a lot of grit. He has a lot of experience. I don't take any fighter lightly, no matter the record, no matter what.
So it looks like Brandon's got the same bright idea that Angelo Leo had before him. Let me give Tomoki Kameda a voluntary title shot, hoping I can get Naoya Inoue's attention. It doesn't seem to have worked for Angelo, so why would it now work for Brandon? A victory over Kameda could further strengthen Figueroa's profile in Japan, where the current pound-for-pound king and undisputed junior featherweight champion Inoue is teasing a move up in weight.
Of course I'd like to fight Inoue. Why not, said Figueroa. I feel like that's a very doable fight, and I don't know, it might be in the works. My older brother, Omar Figueroa Jr., also faced a Japanese fighter, Nihito Arakawa, in 2013, and they went to war. I'm pretty sure Japan is familiar with me and my brother.
Because he fought some nondescript Japanese guy in 2013?
With the name Figueroa because the fight was Fight of the Year. My brother ended up breaking both of his hands, and he ended up winning the belt. It was a war. I recommend any fighter to watch that fight. Now, I am facing another Japanese fighter, so I've become sort of popular in Japan as well.
He has?
I personally haven't fought a Japanese fighter, so I'm really looking forward to it.
If the basic idea here is to draw Naoya Inoue into a fight, lure him, and get his attention, I think you have to do a little more than fight Tomoki Kameda!
Angelo Leo just did that, and he didn't get Naoya's attention, so why would you, Brandon? If the basic idea here is to make a splash big enough that it draws Inoue out, wouldn't unifying titles with the other champions at your weight
would take out the competition and give him less options to choose from upon moving up?
We've been hearing this same tune from every single belt holder in the featherweight division for what's it been? 2 years now. They're all saying the same thing. I would love the honor, the privilege of fighting Inoue.
Excuse me while I try not to throw up in my own mouth that all of you guys with belts, many of which are too goddamn big to be fighting as featherweights, are waiting for a little guy to move up instead of unifying with each other. And I'm starting to wonder,
Is this all just an excuse not to unify?
because you guys read the same news stories that we do, you know that Inoue isn't about to move up, not in his next fight or early next year, because he's supposed to be fighting Bam. So I'm starting to wonder, do any of these belt holders at featherweight actually expect to get the Inoue fight, or are they just using his name as a crutch to not fight each other?
Those two things are not mutually exclusive. They may all be biding their time for such a moment for Inoue to move up and pick one of them, but at the same time, they're happy to not unify, not take any risks, because unifying ain't easy. Any one of these guys could end up beating any one of these guys. Brandon could end up beating Angelo. Angelo could end up beating Brandon. Bruce could end up beating both.
And Raphael could end up beating them. All of them.
Unifying at featherweight isn't easy, and it seems to me like they're all making a conscious decision to avoid each other, while throwing around the name of Inoue as to not be criticized for what they're not doing.
Bitch!
Even though the PBC has struck a landmark deal with DAZN, as far as their schedule of fights and who their fighters are fighting, the quality of competition, it really is more of the same. Now Brandon is fighting Tomoki Kameda, when by all rights, he should be fighting unbeaten Mirko Cuello of Argentina!
Kameda!
Is ranked at number 3, where Mirko Cuello is ranked at number 1. And he's been there for a while, since before Brandon Figueroa lifted the WBA title from Nick Ball. I get the impression that this Mirko Cuello guy, he may be a hot potato. I haven't actually seen him in action, but I know he's an unbeaten fighter, I know he's got a hefty knockout percentage, and I know that Brandon was allowed to bypass him for a Nick Ball fight.
Up until this point, Brandon was ranked behind Mirko, and the title shot should have gone to Mirko because he was interim champion at the time. Nick Ball should have been ordered to fight him, and he wasn't. Likely because Mirko might be a hot potato.
What happened to Mirko's interim title? Where did it go?
The WBA recently stated that they're going to be phasing out all of these secondary titles, the interim, the gold, so that's likely what happened to Mirko's interim title. It got phased out, but he's still ranked as their number 1 contender, and he should be who Brandon is fighting in defense of his title, not Tomoki Kameda, who already lost in a title fight to Angelo Leo.
But that ain't who he's fighting, is he? Initially, they said that Brandon might have to travel to Japan, like Angelo Leo did for that Tomoki Kameda fight. Now they're saying the fight might land in America. Tokyo at Texas, I don't think Inoue gives a salient shit what Brandon Figueroa is doing. Give me a break. If it were really about luring Inoue into a fight, you would take out the competition. Give him less to choose from by unifying titles with the other champions. What you're doing is playing it safe and fighting a guy you know you can beat. That's all it is.
The PBC may have paired up with DAZN, but in terms of the quality of their cards and who their fighters are fighting, it's more of the same.
Men's junior middleweight news. Newly minted unified junior middleweight champion Jaron Ennis said, "I'm looking to make legacy fights. I'm vying for undisputed. The Virgil fight can wait. He had his chance. Now I'm in the driver's seat in the junior middleweight division."
Did he just pour cold water on that fight?
It sounds a lot like it, and he would have done so for the second time. Initially, when Turkey El Sheikh wanted to pay for the fight and Boots was still at 147, he told them that he's not going to fight Virgil because he's not moving up yet and he wants to unify. That's what held up the fight the first time. The second time, it was Virgil's issues with Golden Boy Promotions and their pursuit of more money.
They wanted to do the fight, but at the price that Turkey had initially set for it, except the second time out, Turkey wasn't the one going to finance it.
So now the fight might be held up for a third time on the premise that Boots is more interested in unifying his division than giving Virgil a shot. I think that's the cue for Virgil to push the World Boxing Council to order the fight between him and Sebastian Fundora, because if what you want is Boots, and what Boots wants are unification matches, you need to hurry up and get yourself a belt. You've had 2 years to do it.
What's the holdup?
Jaron Ennis is in the market for belts, and you don't have one. But you know who does?
Who?
Josh Kelly. As a unification matchup with Ennis intrigues Josh Kelly. On July 25th, Kelly will make his first defense of the IBF junior middleweight title he won by outpointing Bakram Murtazaliev in January. The Sunderland man will box Ireland's I don't know how to say that, Aguiarco, in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, on the undercard of Anthony Joshua's fight with Christian Prenga.
That's actually next weekend.
Should he get past Aguiarco, Kelly wants to start mixing with the division's other champions and the biggest names. Josh Kelly actually started out with Matchroom, then he lost that fight to David Evanesian at welter and migrated over to Vazirman Boxing. For a long while, he was promoted by them fighting on the terrestrial channel, Channel 5.
Then he decides to take on Bakram Murtazaliev for the IBF title, inking a new Matchroom deal in the process that was supposed to entail a Jaron Ennis showdown.
I'd love to fight Zayas and Boots, all of the big names out there. I just want to keep enjoying it. I want to be able to have the biggest fights possible, Kelly said during Matchroom's Ordinary People show.
I give Josh a lot of credit for that fight because I didn't think he was going to win.
Josh Kelly appreciates how tall a challenge Ennis would present, but he would enter a unification fight as a world champion in his own right and is sure that he has the skills to cause an upset. I believe he is a great fighter, he said. Technical fight against Boots. Everyone can be beat. Everyone can be worked out, and I've got a style that people find hard to fight against. I'm able to move, but I'm able to set my feet. I'm able to change angles. I've got loads of different looks. Kelly's talent and boxing ability has never been in doubt, but he has always faced questions over his stamina and ability to grind out a win if Plan A doesn't work.
Andy kinda looks like Tom Cruise, if Tom were a little bit taller.
And from England, the question I pose to you, listening to this video is, would you castigate Boots? Would you be upset if he decided to forego a Virgil Ortiz fight for a unification with Josh instead? Because that seems to be the direction that things are going.
You can't say that Josh Kelly's not a good fighter.
He dropped Murtazaliev in the 4th round, but the Russian stormed back. Kelly had to back himself up off the floor in the 9th and dug deep to box his way to a hard-fought majority decision.
Jaron Ennis has far more dimensions than Murtazaliev, and the 29-year-old Philadelphian would provide an entirely different set of problems. Kelly would have to look deep inside of himself and answer similar questions to the ones he did on the night he won the title. It's weird because I knew I had it in me, but until you actually do it, you don't know what it feels like, he said. You haven't got that experience from it, but it's a difference between believing you've got it and knowing you've got it.
Well, he had it to beat Bakram Murtazaliev, but does he also have it to beat Boots? I think he can give Boots some problems at the start and while he's fresh. But as the fight progresses, his stamina is going to betray him and he's going to run into something. Getting away from Boots will be more difficult.
I think Boots beats him. I think he knocks him out, but I also think he knocks out Virgil Ortiz.
If you want my honest opinion, I'm okay with either fight. I'm okay with Boots taking on another champion straight away, but I'm also okay with him fighting Virgil.
But if he doesn't fight Virgil because the Josh Kelly fight gets made instead, that's the cue for Virgil to start pressuring the World Boxing Council to order the Fundora fight. That if what Boots wants are more belts, you need to go out there and get one.
You've had plenty of time to do it.
Seriously, I don't want to hear that fucking shit.